Yes, here we are once again, everyone. Cannabis news. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It is 2/2020, February 20th, 2020. Welcome, everybody, to the show, presented as always by the Marijuana Times. Find us at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there to find the show. Today, we're talking about Colorado cannabis companies finding a new way to advertise. Also, a major marijuana website has finally banned unlicensed retail shops and medical marijuana shops from being listed in Michigan, and a historic vote in Kentucky regarding medical marijuana. All of that coming up. But first, of course, cannabis news is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides grow safe and poison-free with Natureside. Don't use harmful chemicals or banned pesticides in the state where you are growing. Don't use harmful pesticides, whether you're growing cannabis or anything else someone is going to be ingesting instead. Natureside, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Tomorrow, the next episode will be episode 600. Natureside has been there through all of them. Thank you. Natureside. This first story by Julia Granowitz at marijuanatimes.org. Colorado cannabis companies are sponsoring highways as a form of advertising, as you know, or you may or may not know. There's a lot of advertising restrictions when it comes to cannabis companies in Colorado. They're unable to use TV, radio, or billboard advertising unless they can be certain that most of the audience seeing the advertisement is 21 years of age or older. There's also numerous issues, of course, when using social media and digital advertising due to Facebook, Google, and other companies shutting down ads for state legal marijuana due to federal and international laws and restrictions. To get around this, Colorado cannabis companies have taken a unique approach to getting their names out there. According to Julia, there are currently 51 cannabis dispensaries, cultivators, manufacturers, and edible producers that are sponsoring highways through the Clean Colorado program. It's officially run, the program that is, through the Colorado Department of Transportation, and sponsoring a highway pays for the cleanup for that stretch of roadway. In return, the companies get their logo placed on a sign, often near the exit where the business is located. Cannabis businesses make up a total of 66% of highways that are actively sponsored in the program and span a total of 198 miles throughout the state. Next to the cannabis industry, other big sponsors include ad agencies, pest control, plumbing, and real estate. So, and there's a lot of this being a new industry, the cannabis industry being a new industry, with all the restrictions and regulations that come with it, there's going to be various ways of getting around things. And as Julia points out later in the article, and as the people who are doing this and are sponsoring these highways are pointing out, it's a win-win. They get their name out there, the highways get clean. It's really a good situation for all involved. An unnecessary situation if cannabis companies were allowed a little more leeway when it comes to advertising. But that's not simply the way things are right now as we fight to improve legalization laws. That'll be one of the aspects that come after legalization, is fighting to improve, and in this case, lessen restrictions when it comes to advertising. But in the meantime, if you're driving through Colorado, keep an eye out. Who's cleaning that part of the highway is likely, by at least odds-wise, it's going to be a cannabis company. This next story from MLive.com. Major marijuana website bans advertisements from black market companies in Michigan. We talked about this story, I guess, it was around the end of the year, so 7 weeks ago, somewhere around there, where we talked about Weedmaps and the state of Michigan wanting Weedmaps to remove all the unlicensed dispensaries from their site, and it seems like they have done the job. MLive did a little research. They were able to reach by phone 3 listed marijuana dispensaries in Detroit that do not have medical marijuana provisioning center licenses when they were checking on things with Weedmaps. Until late last month, an owner of one of those unlicensed marijuana businesses in Detroit said customers could place orders online using Weedmaps, but Weedmaps announced this week is no longer allowing businesses that can't provide a verifiable Michigan marijuana business license number to advertise on their website. The company created an option that allows users to flag questionable, potentially unlicensed businesses and began removing unverified advertisers on December 31st. This is according to Weedmaps spokesman Carl Feliccio. We have just recently got kicked off Weedmaps, said the unlicensed Detroit marijuana delivery service owner, who declined to give his name because of the effect it could have on his future license application. He said, we're going to build our own website We have a good customer base that call every day, once a week, twice a week. The difference is now we're not getting new people. So Weedmaps is an update on the story we did several weeks ago, coming through on their promise to get rid of the unlicensed dispensaries on their website. Unlicensed dispensaries that often don't have to go through the regulatory hurdles or pay the taxes that the licensed dispensaries do, thereby putting themselves at a rather heavy disadvantage for choosing to go legal, which is not a way to incentivize people to be legal. If you give them a disadvantage over illegal sellers or under illegal sellers or whatever, a disadvantage compared to illegal sellers, then they're going to be more likely to, if they're illegal sellers, are going to stay that way. And if they're going to go somewhere else, they're going to take their investment money and go somewhere else. They're going to say, well, legal cannabis is not for me. Maybe I'll go I'll go up and open a Bed Bath & Beyond franchise store in Flint. I don't know. I don't know what other options they would have available to them. We're just going to make them want to get away from legal cannabis if it's not a viable industry. And if you want legalization to succeed, well, it has to be a viable industry. As I said before, lowering taxes, lowering regulations, lowering fees, licensing or otherwise, all that stuff is necessary to help legal businesses compete with illegal businesses. This last story is from Courier Journal. In Louisville, a historic day in Kentucky. Kentucky House passes medical marijuana bill, the first approval of its kind in the state. After a decade of failed attempts, the State House on Thursday passed a bill to legalize medical marijuana in Kentucky, House Bill 136. Passed by a 65-30 vote. All but 2 Democrats voted for the bill, as did a slight majority of Republicans. The legislation now heads to the Senate, where it faces an uphill climb in a chamber with a large conservative majority and led by President Robert Stivers, a Republican from Manchester, who's expressed skepticism about legalizing medical marijuana until further research on its effects have been published. He has said it has a narrow path to success in Kentucky. HB 136 will allow doctors to prescribe cannabis and set up a regulatory framework for patients to obtain it at approved dispensaries. The sponsor of the bill, Representative Jason Nemes from Louisville, said it would be the tightest medical marijuana law in the country. It would ban smoking medical marijuana. It would also allow counties to opt out of the medical marijuana program, and there would be a prohibition on public usage and home growing for patients. So very restrictive. And even in its restrictive state, there's, as you know, the president of the Senate said, there's a narrow path to getting it through. It's been a long time. As I've said many times before, activists and veterans and people from Kentuckians for medical marijuana, they descend on Frankfurt every year. They go through the testimony and talking to lawmakers and the whole thing for weeks on end in an attempt to get to where we're at now, which is still not close enough to get medical marijuana in Kentucky. I say we because I live in Kentucky, for those of you who don't know, and I've lived here my entire life. But we'll see. We'll see. I can't. And I love this notion of, well, we need more research. We need more research. What is the threshold? What is the threshold for a lot of these guys where they say, yeah, that's enough research? For a lot of them, it's FDA approval, which is a long way off. A long way off. For just medical cannabis and not some derivative or extract or, something from, something like Epidiolex or whatever. The notion that medical marijuana is going to be approved by the FDA anytime soon is crazy. So what's the threshold? What's the threshold of research before a lot of these guys will say, look, just give these people a choice. It's not like we're forcing people to use medical marijuana. They're not being, shipped off to centers where they're forced to hit bongs and sit in big hot boxed rooms or whatever. It's just giving adults the choice in conjunction with whatever medical professionals they choose to consult to try medical marijuana and see if it helps them. And if it does, to continue using it. And we're supposed to believe it's so controversial, but it's not. 90% of people in Kentucky favor it. For a good reason. Because it's stupid to tell someone you don't have a choice. Take this pill or that's it. You want to smoke a joint? Too bad. We're not going to allow you that choice. Strangers are not going to allow you that choice. That's crazy. That's crazy. Stop it already. It's not your business whether someone uses medical marijuana. It's just not. It's this notion we got to discuss this for almost 10 years in Kentucky. They discussed it for 10 years. What have they missed? What haven't they covered? What haven't they talked about? In 10 effing years, what has been glossed over is a ridiculous show that happens every year, and all the the rule senators or whatever, they wring their hands and say, "Oh, there's not enough evidence," and blah 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 blah. It's not your business, old man, or in some cases, old woman. It's not your business. Let adults choose their medicine, whatever it may be. It's not your business. If their medicine is killing people, then it becomes the business of the government. If their medicine is assaulting or robbing people, then it becomes the business of the state. Otherwise, it's not. It's just not. If someone thinks medicine is hitting their finger with a hammer, it's not the business of the state. So this notion that they can't smoke a joint is ludicrous. Ludicrous. That's right, I use a lot of big words. I think it helps me get my point across even more effectively. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the show. As I said, next episode is going to be episode 600. Crazy, crazy. Time is flying. We've been doing this show a little over 2 years now. A lot of episodes. We're here 5 days a week. The Marijuana Times. Search the Marijuana Times on YouTube. Also Apple Podcasts. Or just check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Click that video tab. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic all-natural pesticides. Thank you all for watching and listening and continuing to share these videos. I hope you continue to do so into the future. We'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.